Did you get caught self-loving by your mom?
Awkward. It is awkward.
Did you do something that got you fired from your job?
I just get stupider.
It's fun being stupid.
Don't hide this in vain. Let us laugh at your pain. Call 600-KFMA right away.
I promise we won't embarrass you.
Because Beef Vegan presents F My Life. F My Life. F My Life.
Yes, it's time for another edition of Your F My Life. These are unfortunate situations. Email to us at beefvegan@kfma.com, subject line FML. But of course, if you have an F My Life you care to share on the air, you can give us a call at 600-KFMA. That's 600-5362. And if our expert panel agrees your life is effed, we'll hook you up with tickets to either Balck Moods or something. I got various things. I'd like to reintroduce our good friend joining the show this hour. We got Shane from Tucson Games and Gadgets. Good morning, Shane.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, now we figured out what we're going to do for Tap Out because Short Rest Tavern just had a Super Mario trivia night recently, so we're going to do the same. So if you're a fan of the Super Mario Brothers video game franchise and know a thing or two about it, then you have an advantage for today's Tap Out. So be ready to call 600-KFMA when we do that after FMLs. But let's get into our first email. This was sent to me by Charlie. Charlie said, I recently used the phrase bitch please in real life, and it was funny until the quote-unquote bitch slapped me in the face.
Oh.
You gotta be selective of who you say bitch please to, you know? Let's see, F My Life. We'll start off with Shane.
Oh, boy. There's not a lot of context to this story.
Yeah.
You know,
When in doubt, F My Life.
it's
Or
sort of-
no,
you
Big
know,
Baby?
I think it's Big Baby on this one. You know, if you're going to say things like that, you got to be prepared. You never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody might call you on it.
Look, if you think you're going to be funny as the sassy black woman who said it, that you're emulating, you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep, I gotta agree, Big Baby. You gotta read the room.
Seriously. I stopped saying bitch please a long time ago.
Yeah, get with the times.
I know. All right, here's our next email sent to me by Kaylee. She said, like most days, my cat brought something to my doorstep. Usually it's a slew of dead mice, but this time he brought this big, ugly snake. Now, I'm always the one in my family, quote unquote, brave enough to go fetch our cat's gifts. And it took until lifting it up to realize that the snake wasn't dead.
Oh, no.
Surprise! F My Life. What do you say, Mari?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, what do you say, Shane?
Well, I mean, F the snake's life, am I right? He's the one who paid the price in this particular instance.
He did.
It does suck, you know. It's part of the deal with outside cats and why they are such a scourge on our society. But, you know, it is too bad, but it's like you got to be prepared. If you own a cat, this is the same as the last one. You know,
Right.
people, you sign up for this stuff.
That's true. That did remind me, though, because it is a circle of life. And I remember I was just looking at a reel yesterday of a grizzly bear, right? And there was a river of salmon swimming upstream, but it's a shallow stream because you know how they migrate to go breed. So it was easy pickings for this bear. So the bear just like runs up, grabs this beautiful, huge pink salmon, and grabs it in his mouth and runs off. And the first comment was a lady saying, that poor salmon. And the internet roasted her, right? Like, if it wasn't for that, you know, circle of life, man. This is nature. I mean, basically, to sum it up, they're like, go eat kale somewhere else. All right, next up, my life sent to me by Jill. Jill said, it's been 4 years since I cheated on my boyfriend and we broke up. I've moved on within those 4 years, but I found out the reason I have such a hard time getting a new man now is because my ex, who still works the same minimum wage job, still goes out of his way to tell everyone he knows about our breakup. I guess it's one of the issues of being in Tucson, which is still a small town. You know, word gets around. All right, so is that an F My Life? We'll start off with Shane. You don't want to answer that? Don't
Well,
want to
you
touch
know
it?
what? Okay, so first off, this does have a small town feel.
Yes.
But change your social circle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just change your social circle. And so, I mean, I'm glad you decided to move on, but apparently you decided to move on when you were still dating this guy, and that's
Yeah.
why you're paying the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of karma, right? And you learn. But yes, you're absolutely right.
I'm being rough on the people today.
I know you are, dude. You're Dr. Phil them so hard, dude. I love it. You know, They say move to a different block. You know what I mean? Like our ecosystem in this town is literally what part of town you in. That's your ecosystem. But move a mile to the north, you'll never see that person again in your life. Yeah. All right. Well, I think it was well said, so we'll move forward. So final F My Life of the day, sent to me by Red. Red said, recently I asked a girl out who I've been hanging out with for a few months. She said, that's kind of gross. And then when I asked her about it, she said, my friends will think you're creepy, followed by, you're not actually a creep. They say you look like one.
Oh.
I groom myself every day like a normal person. So this is Red asking why he looks so creepy. This is you're going to have to send a picture in this email, Red, and I'll break it down for you, honestly.
Are you a ginger, Red?
Yeah, well, yeah, who knows? I mean, how many people you know whose nickname is Red?
Not very many.
Yeah, that aren't ginger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of comes to the territory. But being a ginger doesn't make you look creepy.
No, I'm just talking smack. This is a real F my life, though. I really feel bad for this guy because that's lame. And first off, if you're the kind of person who cares more about what your friends are going to think of your prospective dating partners than what you think, you are not a good partner in the first place, so you probably dodged a bullet, Red.
Yeah, Red sounds like he's a young man. So, honestly, this sounds like a 19, 20-year-old problem, maybe. Yeah. Definitely not a mature situation. Eventually, you just kind of settle for creepy looking.
Yeah. Or actual creepy.
Yeah. Mari?
Yeah, FML. To be told that's gross is sad.
Right, yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Like, I shower every day. What else can I do?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, change your face, son. No. All right. Well, thanks for that email. Keep it coming. Beefegan at KFMA.com. Let's hit the reset. When we return, we'll do a round of tap out and give up to $100 of gift certificates to Tucson Games and Gadgets. It's coming up next in Beefegan Presents, so don't go away. It's not coming up next because that was pre-recorded, and I'd like to welcome joining us on the stream again from a very cool location somewhere. I'm guessing in Arizona. We got Josh from the Balck Moods. Good morning, Josh. How you doing, bud?
Good morning. I'm in Missouri actually right now.
Oh.
Are you in Missouri? Is this your spot? Are you living in Missouri now?
I got a house out here. Just a little place next to my folks. My little guy here. So because usually nowadays when we're not on the road, I like to go where there's zero traffic, or if there is traffic, it's just like the Amish buggies going through, or a tractor keeps you going where you need to go,
Do you actually have Amish out there?
A lot of Mennonites, actually.
Oh.
So
Really?
They make some good moonshine.
Yeah, I bet,
Strong.
dude. Yeah, so do they sell it on the side of the road? Do you ever pick some up?
No, I'm pretty sure it's more like the Mennonite mafia. It's not stuff you do out in public.
Yeah. It's,
You
it's
gotta
the
know the
underground.
right people.
That's awesome, dude. Well, first off, I want to say congratulations. You just released this documentary. I want to share this trailer here in a little bit, and I saw it on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get to watch it yet because I didn't rent it yet. Oh, you have it right there, huh? 500 Days of Silence, and it looks amazing. And we're actually gonna have a special guest join us here on the podcast as well. But of course, we're catching up with you because you're going to be headlining the show at The Rock, which is happening this Saturday. So we're excited to have you back in the Tucson area. And then what is this a one-off? Are you like just flying in from Missouri to do the show?
Yeah, we have. Let's see here. Yeah, we've been on the road since. Well, I checked we set the mileage there when we left in Tempe from our studio, and that was July 2nd. And we just rolled 8,000 miles on that.
Wow.
So we've been around the United States a little over twice, a little over a month and a half. So
That's
we've been
amazing.
both ends. We played night before in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we had like something ridiculous, like 14 or 15 shows in a row. So
Whoa.
I got an hour outside of my house yesterday when I was coming home and had a blowout. Like,
Oh no.
Get me home, please.
Seriously, and the road issues, dude, which happens. This is my friend Mari, by the way, if you haven't met her before.
Hi, nice to see you.
And yeah, so have you preset the what do you call that again? The mile odometer.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Have you done that before? Has this been the longest run from zero to the end of
Yeah, we usually average about 6,000 or 8,000 miles on a run, because we went all the way to Connecticut You know, but this was the long haul. We
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
doing it this time, you know.
What market do you feel like you're connecting with the most? It's like biggest surprise where you're getting the best straws from.
You know, Wisconsin, they love their rock and roll there, and so it's really great. So we're finding out because we hit some new markets this time because we haven't been really back out on a big tour since we went out with Whitesnake in 2019, I think.
Yeah, pre-pandemic.
Yeah, that was great, and so we finally revisited some of those markets that we hadn't hit, but we found out that pretty much it's Michigan, because Michigan's great to us, Wisconsin, Indiana, Arizona, Missouri. Those are our hot spots right now. So we did find a couple markets though that are not our hot spots, and so that it keeps you. It's very humbling, you know, to say. But Wisconsin's great. They spin us on the radio a lot. You know, there's a lot of states that we find out once you get you know, out of Phoenix that they play you on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, you wouldn't even know until you get there. Yeah. We're one of them.
It's really cool when you get to a place and you're like, oh my gosh, they know us here. Which is nice. So
yeah, and that's still the the impact of radio as well. So we try to like which goes a long way. People sometimes, artists at all different levels, they either appreciate it or they don't. We literally were going to have a concert announcement this morning. To give away tickets for a band, right? And they told Live Nation, they're like, no, we don't want any local media support. We want to see how well we do on our own. I'm like, that's a ballsy move, right? I'm like, this band.
It's weird to me. We'll take whatever we can get, man. We'll go to the old folks' home and be like, play acoustic for them.
Right. Well, then I was like, oh, well, this band must be massive. What's the name of the band? They told me the band. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that is ridiculous. So, I don't see it working out. I feel like, I'm like, okay, we're not going to hear from them today. In a few weeks, they're definitely going to be knocking on the door like, hey, can you please mention this? Like, yeah, dude.
Well, I mentioned Madison. That's actually your sister station. Me dinging, or is that you dinging?
I think that's you dinging. Yeah, that's you dinging. I muted you. You get a bunch of emails?
Getting a tornado?
I don't know what that was.
Are you getting a tornado?
That's as you can see.
Oh, I'll mute you until you figure it out. Hold on, it's fine. Watch, I'm going to get on the air right now and tease that we're on the podcast broadcast and also introduce a special guest, which is a surprise for you, Josh. You still dinging?
God. Let me find out what's happening here.
Okay, and you can say, Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. So we're live on the podcast broadcast. There we're going to watch a trailer from a brand new documentary starring the man who's going to be headlining this Saturday at The Rock. That's Josh from the Balck Moods. And Josh, you got that beeping figured out?
Nope, but we'll see.
Yeah. Also got a special guest. Okay, so we're going to watch a trailer, youtube.com/beefvegan. The documentary is called 500 Days of Silence. And with this documentary, we're going to talk about the premise of this documentary. But then I noticed an old friend who's in this documentary and then also in another documentary I just watched. And I'm like, what would be cool if we had him on with us as well, since he's a legend. So I'd like to welcome to the podcast broadcast, Mr. Danny Zelisko. And Danny Zelisko, good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to have a lot of fun. So let me play some music, new music from Ashes and New, but you guys could join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. We'll be back with more from Josh from the Balck Moods and the legendary concert promoter, Danny Zelisko, right after this. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA.
Hey now.
Hey now. What are you doing?
Do me a favor, Danny. Can you turn your phone sideways for me? There you go. Yeah,
Better?
full screen. Yes.
Oh,
So, Danny, this is Mari. You obviously know Josh.
Who's that with the hat?
Yeah. And you're joining us from your house there, I recognize.
I am.
Yeah. So, obviously, I wanted to have Danny on because I was watching the trailer, which I want to share real quick. And I noticed Danny popped in on this, but this was the second documentary that I recognized him on within like 6 days because I just watched that Lollapalooza documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in there. You're in there whenever 9 Inch Nails was playing. Was it? It's not Sunsplash, was it? What was that?
No,
No,
it
it
was
was Lollapalooza.
Yeah, but
Did
where
you
was
not know you were in that?
It was like when they had it at the where the hell was that?
Compton Terrace.
Yeah, it was the first one ever in Compton.
Yeah.
You're in there. I thought I told you that. Maybe I didn't. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I sure remember it.
Yeah, you were out there trying to, like, calm people down and shit.
That Trent Reznor baby.
Yeah.
Well, what's so funny about this is because, I've worked with Danny for a few years, and I remember you telling me this story. What happened was, 9 Inch Nails performing at First Lollapalooza, but it's so hot, and they relied heavily on machines, tracking, for their electronic sound, and it melted down within the first song, and Trent Reznor freaked the fuck out. And so Danny had to get on stage to apologize to the crowd and say, the show's still going to be great, and blah, 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 blah. And of course, they showed that clip, so I got to see it, and he didn't even know he was in it.
Yeah.
Here, let's listen to it.
I think I watched that like a week and a half ago, and I was like, holy shit, there's Zelisko.
Yeah, there's Zelisko.
Where is that? Where can you see that?
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, Paramount.
Oh,
it's episode 1. Yeah. You going to watch it right now? I kind of want to interview
No. I'm just getting some coffee.
I was going to say, he's making a drink.
And look at with his long rock star hair. I mean, seriously. Hold on, let me watch a little of this trailer.
To chip away at my soul.
This pandemic has impacted everybody in the music community.
Sometimes I feel like, wow, do I even belong here, Just heartbreaking, man.
How are we going to get through this?
Dude, you got to call Eddie.
It's definitely tested us.
Reduced capacity make it almost impossible for a band to play.
How am I supposed to pay him?
We've been all doing other things.
Yeah, that's just a little bit. We're about to get it live on the air. But
dude, the Steel Panther guys were so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, you say, we're back on the air. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're joined by Josh from the Balck Moods and legendary concert promoter Danny Zelisko, who Danny is actually one of the talking heads in the new documentary 500 Days of Silence, which is available on Amazon, which documents, what it's like to be in a band right when COVID hit. And it follows around the Balck Moods, which essentially you are like the center focal point of this documentary, correct?
Yeah, it started out, the director, Jeremy Simmons, was doing a documentary on just how that whole thing was affecting music in general, especially in Phoenix and Tucson, like the local music scene. And then we wound up having a top 20 hit right in the middle of like May or June is when Sunshine came out as a single. And it went to number 16, and we couldn't tour on it. So he wound up kind of focusing the movie around us, and how we actually had some success in such a crazy time.
Yeah, and it's another scenario, and Danny has seen this before, like overnight success that's been years in the making, right? And then the unfortunate timing of a once-in-a-generation pandemic that was so unprecedented, it shut down the entire industry, and no one knew what to do. So you're like, here we are, we finally made it, and it's over. Right?
If we hit 16 without touring, like we could have easily broke top 10 if we could have went and hit the markets. Easily,
for sure. And, Danny, of course, has been in the music industry for decades. So you've seen, bands, rise to prominence and decline and so on and so forth. You know this music industry. Even for you as a concert promoter, that was not only a kick to the gut, but also one of the most confusing periods of your entire career, right?
Well, in March of 20, by that time, I would say we had at least 75% of the year booked and set up, ready to go. And it was set up to be a fantastic year. All the shows were selling good. Everything was just clicking on all gears the way it was supposed to. And suddenly, everything had to be postponed or canceled. And the weird thing looking back was we really didn't know how long it was going to be for him. It's like, all right, it shows this week. It shows next week. It's going to affect everything for the immediate time being. And it turned out being a year and a half. And I remember everybody trying to set up spacing type distance gigs, and everybody was doing streaming. I'll tell you what, it turned out for that song Sunshine to be a great time for it to come out because you had everybody's attention. Since the pandemic, everybody's in such a damn hurry. You can't get anybody to listen to or read anything. Anything you got to explain to people about anything, reasonable stuff to get them to look at stuff or listen to stuff. They're too busy.
Yeah.
Everybody's moving so fast in so many different directions. Like, calm down, pay attention, listen to good music, go to good shows. That's all I can tell.
Yeah.
You know, and
so
we
you saw
we
the
didn't
silver
get.
lining in it.
Yeah, well, it had some. I mean, for all of us, for a year and a half, man, it was painful to take stock in everything, and hope was going to come back because for months and months it didn't seem like there was any end to it. Then trying to travel was ridiculous, but it was nice because nobody was around. I kind of I loved going to Wrigley Field and there was 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
It was so cool. But the reason that it happened wasn't cool at all. So it overall, I mean, obviously we all wish it never happened.
Well, had you seen anything like that before, Danny? Anything to like throw off the concert calendar, any kind of thing that at least?
Absolutely not. I mean, you know, when there have been some, you know, disasters or emergencies or people who've done really stupid things around the world with concerts, I think everybody kind of looks over their shoulder a little bit more than they used to. You got to be aware of where you are and in your circumstances at all times anymore, because there's a lot of goofy people out there. And, you know, there's more great people than there are goofy ones, but it just takes one goofy one to mess up your day.
That's my dad always says, know your exits.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and Danny has been like an early supporter and believer of the Balck Moods. So we're going to talk about, you know, where we saw, you know, the Balck Moods growing before pandemic, and also where they had to pivot, and, you know, how they continue to capitalize on the momentum right after we play Belladonna and Linkin Park after these words. So keep it right here. Join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. It's the podcast broadcast. Clear. All right, so Danny, I don't know if you're familiar. Josh has done this before, but we're kind of popping on the FM side and then just on the stream and kind of going back and forth. Are you? I hear you're going to be starting a show on KLPX soon. Are you close to doing that?
Cool.
Danny. Oh, not KLPX. Yeah. No, KLPX down here, the classic rock. Mac.
Somebody ought to let me in on it.
No, shit. All right. Well, then you know what? It's me sticking my foot in my mouth again. So
a few weeks ago, what I had suggested, and I've never heard back. Maybe Kaz has. I hadn't heard back from them, but what we talked about doing was me buying an hour, and I could play music from concert acts that are coming up, and just prepackage something and send it along. But I hadn't heard any follow up to it.
All right. Well, I hope it happens. You know, it'd be nice to get you on Tucson radio down here.
Sure.
You know, yeah. And then so, like, when did they approach you to be a part of this documentary, 500 Days of Silence? And I didn't get to see the whole film yet because I'm waiting for my next paycheck to buy it on Amazon or rent it.
Yeah. I'll try to find you a DVD. I just ordered 5 because I was like, it's like that Rolling Stones song, you know, that I bought 5 copies for my mother on the cover.
Yeah.
So I got
the feedback on this, it looks like the reviews on this documentary have been amazing too. Are you blown away with how it turned out?
Yeah, it's really crazy because you know, we still say I think the movie would have been better if we weren't in it. Everybody that is in it. But yeah, it's nuts, and the fact that it's still #1 on Amazon for documentaries, that, you know, it came out on the 6th, so I'm just hoping it translates, and it has some of the shows already and it just came out. We were in Rockford, Illinois, playing Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick. He's got Rock and Vodka. He's got a vodka out, so we played an event at his son's place. Miles Nilsson has it's called the Music Box in Rockford. So we played there when it came out, and there was like an apartment upstairs that they put the bands up in. So we all, after the show, got hammered and watched the movie. So that's really the first time I saw it all the way through. And
really,
yeah. So it was a trip, and then, but again, for it to still be number one in documentaries, I think that's pretty great. And it has, we need something to translate over to ticket sales and put bodies in a room, you know, like when we're playing across the United States. And we've actually, at the shows, signed, people have been bringing their DVDs, and a lot of, you know, and I didn't know they still made DVDs.
Yeah.
It's a good merch item now, you know, for us to have.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people show up that didn't know about the band until when the movie came out. They're friends of Rick Springfield or Sammy or Danny or whoever, you know, and they find us through watching that movie, which has been pretty cool.
Hell yeah. And yes, I am going to be at the show, Lindsay. I'll show up after the national anthem, but I'll be there for the Balck Moods. So yeah. But, a very interesting little lineup there. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna do that then.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. They asked me I've been asked a couple of times to do the national anthem, and I politely like have some excuse like do it because I'm like, well, we're not gonna roll into town in time, and it just seems like I'm nervous before a show anyway, so I can't imagine for the damn anthem.
They get you to double dip for free. Danny, I mean, you book artists and stuff. Is it unheard of to be like, get your headliner and be like, hey, how about you show up a couple hours early, just do the national anthem for everybody, and then.
You know, Josh, I'm happy to do it for you.
Okay.
There you go.
I've always wanted to do it in my house. I do it once in a while because it echoes really good in here.
Yeah.
And I pull it off in here really good.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the biggest mistake is when you start too high on that thing. You better.
No, you got to start one lower.
Woo.
Just start. You can get through it, and then by the end of it, you can work up your nerve to hit the big one at the end.
Oh my God! Oh, thank you. I'll encourage somebody else to do it. I'm like, yeah, sounds great.
Excellent job. You're a patriot. Danny, let me ask you this about Lollapalooza, because you, like I said, you're featured in the new documentary Lolla, and you make that. They basically just show your concert, your stage announcement after Trent Reznor stormed off the stage because his equipment melted down because it was so hot at Compton Terrace for the first ever Lollapalooza. What do you remember from everything that happened behind the scenes in that scenario, and who approached you to be like, hey, you got to save this shit show?
Well, you know, it really wasn't so much as saving anything. It was just kind of informing people about what went on. Right before the show started, me and Perry were in 9 Inch Nails. They had a motorhome. They didn't have a tour bus. They had a motorhome. They were just starting out, and Trent was not Trent yet. Trent was becoming Trent.
Yeah.
And he was a super nice guy, and we had a beer together and with the band, and it was all very, very normal, and I wasn't expecting anything like that. And yeah, it was hot as hell. It was June.
Yeah.
And they went on stage, and me and Perry were sitting on the back of the stage enjoying a joint. And suddenly, I mean, we were literally sitting on the top of the stairs. They went on, they're right behind us. Nobody can see us. And suddenly all hell broke loose. And, you know, they walked off stage. I didn't want to pay them. I told the Ted Gardner, who was running the show, that I didn't think they should be paid. Well, it was so hot, their equipment. I said, well, shouldn't they know that? I mean, I don't play their gear. I don't use their Echoplexes, and they had, you know, I mean, back then,
yeah,
it was nothing sophisticated at all. I mean, it was whatever they were doing didn't work, and nobody knew. But I thought it was a little extreme to go off stage. There's a lot of people there that wanted to see him.
Yeah, they were a buzz band at the time.
Yeah,
I just can't imagine being so dependent on this stuff they needed that they couldn't play a regular set.
Yeah, that's where I was at. I was like, oh, give me a break.
It was all electronic, and yeah, I mean, they were a big band. The way Trent was in this documentary, and the way he explained it, and then, obviously he had 30 years to come up with a decent reason, so he didn't look like an asshole.
Right. What'd he
You're
say?
telling me, well, because obviously the equipment was new. Now everybody's using tracking, and then without it, since it was like kind of skipping, it was throwing everything off, so it was impossible for them to do a performance, and have these songs, be in time. And so with that, he went mental, and it was frustrating, and so he threw a hissy fit.
And
he wasn't obviously he wasn't prepared for it, but I think even then, at the beginning of your career, part of the key is have a plan B.
Yeah.
I'm
sure he learned that the hard way,
Well, we all did. I still didn't want to pay him.
Yeah. Now, so you were stoned, and then you just smoked a joint with Perry Farrell, and then he storms off the stage.
I didn't say I was stoned. I just said I smoked a joint. I didn't get a chance to get that far.
Okay. So did you immediately get on the stage and interact, or was there about 15 minutes of chaos?
I don't remember, but somebody pointed to me and said, "Go do something." So, all of a sudden, I don't remember who was next, but all of a sudden the next band, had to move up their stage time 20 or 30 minutes, which happened pretty quick. All the gear was there. But, this was the very first one. So improv on the first show at the beginning of the show was really not what anybody was wanting to do. It's like, let's try to stick to the script. That was the same day that, what's his name? The guitarist from James and Perry went at it on the stage.
Navarro?
Dave Navarro.
Yeah, is that in the documentary? I didn't see that.
I don't know. Did they get to the end of the first show?
They didn't. No, they didn't talk. They just talked about you going up there and having to chill everyone out, and explain what's going on.
They glossed over it, but they did mention that the whole idea of Lollapalooza was basically a farewell tours for Jane's Addiction because they hated each other at the time. So they were just like, we're out. Let's do one last big bang and throw together this festival.
I don't remember that being a part of any of the vernacular that was going on whatsoever.
Yeah, that wasn't their pitch to you to have you promote it, I'm sure, right?
So, no. It was really just, like the year before, after another James show, Perry and I were sitting up late at night, and that's how the name got made. He wanted to call it like a jubilee or a jamboree, and I said, sounds like you're having a Boy Scout cookout, and we just kept batting around names, and Lollapalooza was really the one that described what he wanted to do.
So you were instrumental in coming up with the name Lollapalooza with Perry Farrell?
Perry, yeah.
See, motherfucker, really? Like they could have mentioned that during the documentary, right?
Well, yeah, they could have, but it's a funny thing in rock and roll. Memories tend to quit working an awful lot. Yeah. And I think, and when we did come up with that name, it was the middle of the night, and I guarantee you we were high. So I could see where stuff slips people's minds, especially when you're the one that's still selling it after all these years. They, nobody knew or thought that was going to continue the way that it did, because just a few years later, the whole Lollapalooza thing ran out of steam. Yeah. And then it came back bigger than ever.
Yeah, were you the promoter for every Lollapalooza that went to Phoenix after the initial one?
Yeah. We went out to Desert Sky and did them there for a while. And we ended up back at Compton. I don't remember. Did we go back? No, I don't think so.
I think
we had the one with Metallica and Devo was at Compton.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the one that they were pointing at where Lollapalooza sold out, and it kind of started getting backlash, right?
I don't remember the backlash. I remember a dust storm that moved through there that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But I really don't remember any backlash about anything there. It was a really popular festival, but it, like I said, it kind of, towards the end of the 90s or early 2000s somewhere, it completely ran out of steam, and it went away for a little while.
Yeah, that's Danny Zelisko we're talking to on the podcast broadcast, talking about Lollapalooza. Welcome back. You just heard Belladonna by the Balck Moods, who are performing this Saturday at The Rock. And the reason why we tied these two together is because they have a new documentary, the Balck Moods do, called 500 Days of Silence, which is the #1 documentary on Amazon Prime. It's been getting rave reviews, and it basically documents the tale of being a band, breaking it into the top 20 of the Billboard charts with a rock single, and then having pandemic come, shut the entire industry down. And then that whole journey, and has tons of great cameos. And Danny, who's a legendary concert promoter in Arizona for decades, makes appearances to talk about his insight as well. And then we were just talking about Lollapalooza. So now that we got you all caught up, I see you got your guitar there too, Josh. You tinkering around there? You getting ready for the show?
It's I didn't get in until like 2 a.m., so it's holding me upright.
It'll do it.
Yeah. Now, Danny's booked you on tons of shows before, and has always been kind of like a day one sporter. He's always said these guys got it. And so I know, Danny, you must have been personally frustrated for them as well once they started to kind of cross over, make that kind of like connection with the audience across the country on radio, and then this damn pandemic come and mess things up, because I'm sure you guys were planning on making money together.
Yeah, thanks to Danny, we got to we just did Oriente. And what's crazy is Rick Springfield's in the movie, and then Danny just put us on a show with Rick, which was incredible. Sold out at Celebrity Theater, and that guy, I tell you what, I think he's like 72 now or something. Yeah. And we were downstairs, and everybody's doing VIP, like, taking pictures and stuff. And so we're standing there next to Rick, and you catch yourself, like, your posture gets better, and you're like tighten things up. You're like, damn, this guy, he was running around that place with his shirt off, like just killing it and rocking out. And we're like 72, I want to be like, we definitely drink too much Busch Light to function like that. But
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but still a rock star. Doing it up. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. And, so we were talking about also just the runs of Lollapalooza, which Danny Zelisko was the promoter for all the Lollapaloozas that happened in Arizona before the decline there. And, and I know that you're also booking shows here in Tucson. You got shows that are showing up here in Tucson here soon, Danny?
I sure hope so. There's a whole bunch of stuff. We've been in the Rialto a lot lately, and the music hall there, and there's a lot of good stuff coming. The Stick show's coming, and Bonnie Raitt's opening her tour. Well, her second date of her tour is down there. Yeah. There's plenty of good stuff going on down there.
Danny told us, we were at the studio in Tempe one night, and Danny's like, "Hey, get your asses down here. Styx is playing." So we go down there, and next thing I know, there's Tommy Shaw, and those guys are kicking ass. Those guys are great.
Tommy Shaw was the first rock star I ever met, and I met him in rehab when I was 15, because he's a proponent of staying clean. Yeah. It was the Meehan group, right? And so he was speaking to all of us juvenile delinquents, talking about the importance of sobriety and whatnot. And Tommy's still looking good after all these years, so I imagine he's still sticking to it.
It's incredible. And
hey, Josh, we must have missed that meeting.
Yeah, we definitely did. Yeah, like,
no, you're too busy smoking joints with Perry Farrell and coming up with Lollapalooza. Danny, you are the rock star on this, so and you've linked up the Balck Moods with a lot of great legendary artists to be able to perform and support. And is that where a lot of these connections that are in the documentary came from? These kind of relationships from playing with these artists?
I guess so. When stuff's just coming down the pike, you meet people, you like people, and you get opportunities to do things such as, like we got the Moods on with ZZ Top, and it was a great show there. I mean, I think good shows are made better when you have a great band supporting to set it up. And the Moods are like one of my favorite groups to have on shows like this, because there's their fans who go crazy for them, and there's people that are going to be their fans after they see them, And that's what that's all about. You use that opportunity, that slot, to give people some more notoriety. And it's easy with these guys because they're pros.
Yes.
ZZ Top show was killer. We did that press gate, and we played the arena up there, and that was
fun, wasn't it?
That was something else. Oh my gosh. And ZZ Top, that was a Moods bucket list because we listened to them. We've been fans of those guys. They seem more like uncles. They've been in my life so much.
Yeah.
Their family.
That's a no-brainer of a support act too, because they kind of have like a similar. They're kind of like a power trio as well, right? Even though they probably have they have more in their band, yeah. So, and that's how the way I try to reiterate on the air, just the people who may not be completely familiar. The way that I sell you guys is how you sold me, was just being this dynamic power trio that like reminds people. It reminded me that you didn't need a 5-piece band to sound like a goddamn orchestra. Like the way you won me over was in Rocky Point on the side stage at JJ's, sounding like you're performing at Desert Diamond Arena. Like I was like, oh, okay, 100% in and on board from that moment on. So, if you could sound great on that stage, you could sound great everywhere. And that's pretty much where you're at right now. You booking up any shows with the Balck Moods in the calendar year here, Danny? Do you know?
I don't think we have any on the books now, but we will.
Yeah. Well, hopefully as this documentary continues to grow, and this is just great exposure. This, we live in an age of, content is king, and this is branding and how you build up fans. So, obviously through music is one way, but through personality and hearing the story is another way that's really going to get a connection of fan that I don't know if you've had before, beyond the hardcore ride or dies who've been around for years,
Well, what's cool about it too, like I was talking about Rick Springfield, but not just that, you have Sammy Hagar. We have half of Van Halen in it. Sammy's in it. Michael Anthony's in it. And then also, just from Arizona perspective and everything, we have Jim Adkins from Jimmy Eat World and Robin Wilson from the Jim Blossoms and Roger Klein, from the Peacemakers. So it's really cool to have everybody's, point of view to see what kind of and it's really the same thing when you watch the movie. From the guys like Sammy Hagar to guys like us that are just up and coming. It's the same perspective as, it hurt them not to play music too. Sammy doesn't need the money. He does it because he likes playing music.
Yeah, he does it for the fix.
That's what it boils down to. So.
And it was good to get a promoter's perspective as well, too, because then there's a lot of the logistics of, the in-house, the setup, and then how they had to continue to, like social distance and really overcomplicate things to even try to get some shows going. So the headaches and the hurdles that had to overcome during this transition period, I don't know if a lot of people really know what they had to go through. They just knew that it was inconvenient for them to go to shows.
We were pretty lucky about that. Because you had to go to live streaming, which was a hot mess because now everybody's on the internet. That's all they have to do is sit at home. So then your internet goes out when you're trying to do a live stream because everybody and their dogs are on it. Whatever they're searching porn or whatever it is, but it's clogging the internet.
It's porn. It's full of porn.
Yeah. And so it was just the trials and tribulations of trying to get your music out there. But the fans were really great to us. Like, our merch that for that pandemic downtime was incredible because that's how anybody could really help you out as a fan, if you wanted to, to keep the band going. Cause I know a lot of bands broke up and just couldn't survive that kind of thing. So we're pretty lucky. We just packed up and came back to the Ozarks and made a record.
Yeah.
Right. Cause they've been social distancing in my town since the 30s.
Yeah,
600 people, So.
Yeah, and they've had that vaccine and that Amish moonshine for this entire time.
Keeps it all away, man.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. All right, we're gonna get back on here on about 45 seconds on the FM side, and then we'll wrap things up. But real quick, yet again, I look forward to hanging out with you Saturday, Josh and Danny. I appreciate you joining us in the conversation and surprising Josh, and he's gone again.
Yeah. That was he can still hear you. He can still hear you. He's not going far.
No problem.
He's got good acoustics in that house.
Yes.
I know.
He's feeding the toys and the
I'm
koi.
like, I'm trying to get sentimental, dude, and that's it. You just walk away. There you go.
I'm not missing a word, Brad.
Oh yeah, and he calls me Brad because he knows the beef already. He can't come to when you already know one beef, you're like, that's a fucking enough.
That's right.
There's no
That's
two
right.
beefs in my orbit. Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're back on the podcast broadcast this Saturday, of course. The Rock, it's going down with the Balck Moods headlining. It's going to be a huge show. And before you see them live at the Rock, make sure you check out the #1 documentary on Amazon Prime. It's called 500 Days of Silence, and it will feature both on guests on the podcast broadcast today. Josh Kennedy from the Balck Moods and Danny Zelisko, who talk about the music industry during this transitional time of pandemic, and then obviously the uplifting part of coming out of pandemic and hitting the road again and having new records. And what was the best takeaway, like once it was all said and done, the best part of getting through it and what you were most proud of, basically surviving as a band through that time?
Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, he's getting a Zoom call right now.
Yeah, sorry. For us, it was whenever we finally got to go back on stage. Oh my gosh, sorry. Hold on.
That ain't me.
I know it's not. It's good.
Sorry. Walking on stage that as soon as it was over and you get on stage, the crowd was so glad to be there. It was overwhelming. As soon as we walked out, before we even played a note, it went, because it was insane. That was that was the biggest rush. You'd have thought we were playing Wembley or something. And, there was probably 1,500, 2,000 people there. But it was like all three of us were like teared up. Like that was before we even played a note. That was the best feeling ever.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And there was a certain like excitement coming out of pandemic, right? Where we're all just like so excited to just be back out and amongst people too. So, was the first 6 months when you're back on the road, was that like not the easiest like ticket sale that you've ever done? Like Danny, like as a promoter, like those first like 6 months of concert announcements? No? Oh.
No, because what was happening though, keep in mind, we just gone through about 1.5 years of a forced retirement. When we came out doing shows, you still had people going, do I still got to wear a mask, or I want to wear a mask, or it's too soon. I don't want to be in a crowd yet. So for the rest of 2021 and into the next year, some halls maintained restrictions on wearing masks or said they'd like people to do it. And then you had those bozos out there that refused and were very vocal about it. And still, we were still going through that phase of not everybody knew 100% about all of this. So erring to the side of caution has never been a bad thing as far as I'm concerned, especially when you got time to do it. We had a little bit of time to ease back into this. But, people were anxious to come out and see shows. They were anxious not to wear masks anymore, if you remember. And most everybody got their vaccination shots. So after all that time, it really became a thing like, enough already, let's see what happens. And fortunately, it worked. I know everybody was really happy to get back to work. I was. It was amazing that, for everybody that lasted, not just in the music business, but in entertainment altogether, restaurants, airports. I mean, there was a lot of things that took place other than music that has to have it together in order to support going to shows or traveling to perform dates and all that stuff. It took a while, into 2022, I think was really our first year back. 23 is great. And now we're all back. We got to make it through another election and hopefully we can breathe again.
Yeah. And I think, we got the bad part behind us, and it slowly, gets better and better and back to normal, whatever that normal may be. And hopefully we have a new normal that's even better. Josh, what's on the agenda for 2024 that you guys are looking forward to do besides ride the momentum of this awesome documentary?
Well, we have we've been working on a new record in Los Angeles with Seth Rieger, who wrote Bruno Mars song. Like he's Bruno Mars writer guy. So we've got about 12 new songs in the can, and it's so funny. We got a call the other day from Daryl from Run DMC, and
Really?
yeah. So nothing's locked in stone yet, but we have a new single out called Sugar. The video and single's out, and he got a hold of that somehow, and so I guess we're talking about him doing something with him. So we've never
Dropping a verse on Sugar, really?
No. We're gonna write something and do it together like that. So
Okay.
we go back out because we have a show in Chicago on September 14th, I believe, and then we make our way to Pine Top, Arizona, for the end of September 21st, and then after that we're back to Los Angeles. So
you doing Lions Den up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another show I recommend you guys going to too. Danny, you ever been to a Lions Den show?
Never.
Dude, it's a good stage. It's a fun stage too.
And we do 2 nights there, so we'll do that, and then we'll head to LA for a couple days, and now it's just prepping for to figure out how we're going to put the next record out, because we'll do singles, another probably single or 2, and then figure out from there, because it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of a crapshoot now on the way to release music. You're not really sure if it's should we put an EP out, should we put a just single it to death, or just drop a record, and me, the band, we're old souls, so I like a record, I like a vinyl, I like something in my hand, tangible, I like seeing the lyrics, I like seeing the artwork, and so we'll wind up doing that, and then just we'll start back up.
Nice. Well, yeah. Oh, I think you got a lot of momentum on your side, dude. And you guys survived. You survived the pandemic, and you were able to document it in a beautiful way to create even more art. So you took a negative into a positive, and excited to see you guys take the stage this Saturday at The Rock. We got tickets available for that show. You can get those through KFMA.com, and of course, we'll be giving away those tickets all week long. Once again, I'd like to thank our guests for the podcast broadcast, Josh Kennedy from the Balck Moods. Be on the lookout for new music from them, and the legendary concert promoter Danny Zelisko, and you can check out his concert calendar whenever you want, because he's got lots of shows not only up in Phoenix but here in Tucson at DannyZelisko.com. And it was a pleasure catching up with both you guys, and at the same time we're vibing. I like it. It's almost like we were smoking a joint backstage at Lollapalooza, which we got to make a reality as well too.
Yeah.
Right, so
I don't have no meetings after this. We'd burn one right now over Zoom.
Yeah.
Hey Brad, I got one for you for the road.
Okay.
So recently, during the pandemic, I wrote that book.
Yeah.
And put that together. We ran out of books, and then we had our 50th anniversary here recently, and somebody suggested we make some more copies of the book available, which I did. So on our website, other than the book, you can get socks, coasters, T-shirt, and a pass for $100. And if you buy the whole bundle, I'm throwing in a pair of concert tickets.
Oh,
so
nice.
Basically, you look at it any way you want. You're either getting the swag for free, or we're going to a show for free. Take your pick.
Yeah,
but
and I have that book on my coffee table. It's my coffee table book, right? And so when people come over, it's a fantastic book. Look through behind the scenes, got tons of pictures in there, just backstage stories of being a concert promoter and growing up, and it's a perfect coffee table book. So I really enjoy it.
We just put that package together when I got a couple hundred more copies. So when we're out this time, we're out. But I got sick of seeing Amazon just selling used copies of the book online. They didn't have new ones. So hopefully they got new ones now.
Nice.
So anyway, I hope people will take advantage of that. I mean, just for the tickets themselves, there's a lot of good shows coming up.
Well, the book's great, but the socks, if you haven't tried the socks yet, I've got some socks. And
aren't the socks incredible?
Great socks.
Well, then I got to get a pair of socks.
Well,
send me some socks, Danny.
All right, I'll get Kaz to send you some.
I'll pick him up from him and bring him down to the show.
Good.
What's important? It's got padding on the bottom, so you can float.
That's good. I need that, dude.
That's right.
Oh, I love it. So, well, I appreciate you guys, and like I said, pleasure catching up. Look forward to hanging out with you this Saturday, Josh. And then next time you're in town, Danny, let me know. Let's link up, grab a bite or something.
You got it, pal.
All right.
Good to
Well,
see
I hope
ya.
you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for watching the stream. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow morning bright and early. Till then, babuski.